Hey guys, welcome back to the channel for another Ninjago video. In today's video, we are talking about the backstory for the Pyro Vipers, or lack of, and just a lot of the unanswered questions about them. Never Trust a Human is my favorite episode of the season so far, and while it does answer many questions about Aspheera, it leaves a lot of questions about the Pyro Vipers unanswered. I did ask Tommy and Drayson about this on Twitter, asking him if the Pyro Vipers are the ancestors of the 5 tribes, and to that, his classic response lately has been whatever you think, or the show is stealth, yeah, may confirm or debunk at a later time. Not a definite answer, so the way I'm seeing this right now is however you want to interpret this. And so I do have about 5 questions that I do want to discuss in this video and share my own takes on the backstory of the Pyro Vipers. The first big question is, how exactly do they work with the other 5 Serpentine tribes? And this is basically what I asked him on Twitter. Are they the ancestors of the 5 tribes? Are they a 6th tribe that just died out over the ages? Or some sort of side tribe like the Vermilion? And, well, these Pyro Vipers seem to have came a long time before the rest of the 5 tribes. We have never really seen the 5 tribes this early in Ninjago's history, and this flashback episode is pretty far back in Ninjago's history, at least 1,000 years ago, and we've never really seen the 5 tribes that far back. So, I mean, I'm going to say that the 5 tribes have actually evolved from this Serpentine tribe, because something else that's interesting is that this original Serpentine tribe doesn't exactly seem to have any sort of elemental powers, or any sort of powers at all, whereas the 5 tribes all have their own unique powers. So what if over the ages they would branch off and evolve into these tribes with immense powers? I think this would make a lot of sense, just considering how exactly evolution works, and again, this original tribe didn't seem to have any powers, with the exception of people like Aspheera, who were training to learn magic, but yeah, I mean, they didn't have any natural powers like the 5 tribes did. So if they were to evolve and take over Ninjago, they would have to develop abilities, and I think that would make a lot of sense. So how I'm going to see this, basically the Pyro Vipers, this original tribe, was actually the ancestor tribe and would later evolve into the 5 tribes. But the next question is, what exactly happened to these guys? I mean, these guys seem to have died out over the ages, because when we come to season 11, we have them all in a pyramid and basically dead. And then when Aspheera comes back, the lava seems to revive them. So how exactly did they die off to the ages? What exactly happened? Well, we know what happened to Aspheera, so no questions about that. The reason why she's still alive is because her entombment was magical. But why exactly are the rest of the Pyro Vipers trapped in this pyramid when they died? And that's kind of interesting. It's almost like someone basically just trapped them all in there until they just died out. Again, this is just kind of speculation, but basically I think once the Pyro Vipers, or at least some of them, had evolved into these new tribes, they were forgotten over the ages, and I think it would even be possible that the 5 tribes would maybe rebel against them, trap any survivors in the pyramid, and then they just all die out. Basically, some of these coffins or sarcophagi with the Pyro Vipers in them would be shipped off to museums like Char, but others would remain stuck in that pyramid until the ninja would later discover them. So I do think that after the Pyro Vipers evolved into the 5 tribes, they basically were abandoned, they were locked away in that pyramid, or they just all died out, maybe due to some sort of natural event or something. I don't know, it's kind of hard to say what exactly happened with this one. I can say, though, that the reason they were probably resurrected from the dead is due to Aspheera's magic, so I'm thinking that's probably how they came back in Season 11. But the next question is, what exactly is their ranking system? You know, the 5 tribes were very organized in terms of rank. The second in command would look just like the general, but with legs. The generals would be the only ones to have tails. But then in Season 11, with the original tribe, we have Aspheera, who's not a general, but yet she does have a tail. And then we also have Char, too. So that raises some questions about how their ranking system works exactly, so I'll just be talking more about that for this next section. Every Pyro Viper looks the same except for Mambo, Aspheera, and Char, and that's to say that all of them, all the normal people, have legs, which is typical for a Serpentine tribe. But then we have Aspheera, who is a sorceress, and I guess that could be an explanation for why she has a tail, unlike the rest of the Pyro Vipers. So I definitely think that could be a reason why she does have a tail like Mambo. And maybe that could be due to the fact that she is somewhat higher ranking. She is a sorceress, and that seems to be maybe an elite group or something. I don't know, but I think that definitely could be an explanation for why she does have a tail. As for why Mambo has the tail, that's pretty self-explanatory. He's the leader. And as for Char, well, I'm not sure. Maybe he was higher ranking in this society too. He did seem to be Aspheera's servant or something like that. So, I mean, I think that could be too. Maybe he was higher ranking. Now, our fourth question, how exactly was Aspheera able to steal the fire from Kai? We know that fire is not the dominant element of the pyro snakes, and that they were just essentially normal people without any sort of powers. But then in Season 11, Aspheera is able to steal Kai's firepower, and this one is an easier explanation than some of the past ones. Basically, Braggy has confirmed on Twitter that Aspheera's magical staff does actually have magical abilities on its own without the scroll. So, I mean, that's pretty easy to explain. Basically, I say that she was able to use the staff in order to steal Kai's fire. Combined with her own knowledge of magic and sorcery, I think that would definitely explain how exactly she is able to bring the Pyro Vipers back to life and use Kai's power for her own evil needs. And lastly, this is a pretty confusing one. How exactly does the Fire Fang fit into all of this, and what exactly is it? What is its backstory? Surely it couldn't have come out of nowhere. But this is a confusing one because we don't see the Fire Fang at all in the backstory episode, and it does seem to be a pretty important character or creature, and there's just no backstory for this at all. Well, basically, I'm just gonna say that, similar to the other pyro snakes, the Fire Fang might have once just been a normal creature without any powers, but was sealed away in the pyramid either by force or they just all died out in the pyramid. And when Aspheera came back around, she used her fire to revive it. So basically, maybe the Fire Fang back in the old days was used to do labor. I mean, we see the Serpentine tribe working pretty hard at the beginning of the flashback episode, building the pyramid. So maybe they used this gigantic creature to get work done faster, and eventually it was just locked away in the pyramid when it died maybe. And when Aspheera was freed from the tomb with her newfound fire ability and magic, she was able to bring the life in the Fire Fang back and give it this new fire ability. So I think something like that probably happened. And this is going to probably be all for this video, but just a few more things I forgot to mention earlier. Just building more of a case for why the Pyro Snakes, or that original Serpentine tribe, do seem to be the ancestors of the 5 tribes. Well, these guys look a lot like the Hypnobrai, especially their eyes with the red eyes with these curvy lines. It looks a lot like the Hypnobrai. Then you have Char, who in color seems to be kind of similar to the Constricti. And you also have characters like Mambo and Aspheera, who look somewhat similar to Scales in terms of how their face is structured. And it makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider that Aspheera was originally going to be a Hypnobrai, perhaps, as revealed in Tommy and Jason's concept art. But yeah, this is all for this video. It is a shame that the Pyro Vipers don't really have more backstory, because they are pretty important as seemingly one of the original Serpentine tribes. So this is just my interpretation of how exactly the Pyro Vipers fit in with the rest. Basically, to sum up everything I've said, the Pyro Vipers are the original tribe of Serpentine and would later evolve into the 5 tribes. And the Fire Fang was a normal Serpentine beast, perhaps, used in order to do work and eventually died. So that'll be the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share with anyone ever you know. This is just my interpretation of the Pyro Vipers backstory, and feel free to share your own take down in the comment sections below. Once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.